Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. So this week has been making a big liar out of me. I said I wanted to keep all of the videos like this, like toy news type stuff, to the Sunday videos, and I broke that rule once already with the reveal of the Power Rangers flip figures, Morphin Rangers, but there is something else that dropped today, and most of you have probably seen this already, but I really wanted to talk about it, and that is Mattel has gotten the DC license back. And I kind of feel like I willed this into existence. Because if you remember, like my top 5 toy lines that I wanted for 2025, I had mentioned, I think an honorable mention was made, that I wanted Mattel to get the license back for DC action figures. And now it looks like that is happening. Word just landed today. The first whiff of this I caught on the Mattel Instagram page, where they put up the graphic that you're looking at right now. But then there was also an article that was broke by the Los Angeles Times, and let's just read that right now. Mattel wins back lucrative rights to make DC-themed action figures, other toys. So it's not just action figures. It seems like they are going to have a pretty wide berth of what they can do. Mattel has reclaimed the highly coveted rights to create action figures and collectibles based on DC characters such as Batman and Superman, starting in the second half of 2026. It's a huge deal. You're dealing with some of the greatest superheroes and some of the best action figure potential in the industry, and we're incredibly excited by that, said PJ Lewis, Mattel Senior Vice President and Global Head of Action Figures and Fisher-Price Entertainment. Mattel lost the global licensing rights about 6 years ago to develop and market some DC-related toys to rival Spin Master and McFarlane Toys. Mattel was still allowed to produce DC-themed toys aimed at girls and preschoolers, and we saw that with things like, I believe, Imaginext, and I think there was like a doll line for DC superhero girls. The new multi-year deal could help fuel sales for the El Segundo-based toy maker and entertainment company as it competes with contenders such as Hasbro, which produces Marvel superhero action figures. We might talk a little bit about that more in a second. Licensing agreements such as this one allow a company to make use of intellectual property owned by another entity, typically in exchange for a fee or a percentage of sales. Along with figurines, Mattel will also be able to create and market DC-themed play sets, accessories, and role-play products as part of the deal. The agreement includes rights for all DC stories and characters including Wonder Woman, the Joker, and Harley Quinn. I love how they put Batman and Superman at the beginning, but then like got 3 of the other like eye-catcher names in the middle of the article. Also, the licensing agreement such as this one allows a company to make use of intellectual property. We'll probably talk more about that statement in a moment as well. This renewed partnership will reflect our shared passion for engaging and inspiring fans and collectors of all ages. Nick Karamanos, Mattel's Senior Vice President of Entertainment Partnership, said in a statement. The announcement also comes as filmmakers work on new DC movies slated to be released in the next several years. The lineup includes Superman, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Clayface, and The Batman Part 2. Unfortunately, I feel like Superman is going to miss the mark. I feel like by the time Mattel is able to start making figures, we're going to be into Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow and The Batman Part 2, but I think Superman may be too far removed to start doing that. I'm kind of excited about them doing movie figures as well. Film releases, comic books, TV shows, and social media videos about superheroes can bolster excitement about the release of new toys. In the past, Mattel has produced toys tied to the films The Dark Knight, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and Justice League. And I'll be completely honest, I forgot they still had the license when Justice League came out. For some reason in my head, they had lost it prior to that. Mattel has a long history of working with Warner Brothers Discovery to develop dolls, games, and other toys based on other popular franchises such as Harry Potter, Friends, Seinfeld, and Ted Lasso. In 2022, the company snatched back the rights from Hasbro to produce toys based on Disney's princesses and characters from the popular film Frozen. I didn't know that, but then again, I don't pay much attention to Disney princesses. Robert Oberschelp, head of Warner Brothers Discovery Global Consumer Products, said that the DC brand is one of the company's crown jewels. Agreed. And the battle to obtain the licensing rights was highly competitive, which is very interesting to me. The company considered manufacturers' business models and track records in design work, distribution, and innovation when weighing options. What Mattel really brought was a very clear understanding of our brand, he said, adding that the toy maker's global reach was an important factor. You have content coming every way that's going to be in front of that fan to get them excited. What we're going to be able to do is extend that storytelling, he said. I obviously am very excited about this. I don't think I've made it any secret that I haven't been real thrilled with the McFarlane DC Multiverse line, and I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. If you like that line, if you're happy with that line, if you're upset to see that line potentially coming to an end, I completely understand that. But I personally am very glad to see this getting switched over, and even going back to Mattel. A few things about this. Well, before we get onto that, let's also talk about Toy Arc, because Toy Arc broke this news as well today, but they added something in there, and there have been a few other places that I've noticed have said something similar to this that I'm going to read right now. McFarlane Toys will apparently stop producing action figures at that time, and Mattel will take over not just for our collector level figures, but multiple segments, similar to how they used to do before the split to McFarlane and Spin Master. Exact details are not clear yet, so this may change. That last line is very important. Exact details are not clear yet. This may change. What Toy Arc said is speculation. After I read that, I looked around. There is nothing solidifying that McFarlane has lost the license. Because what I find interesting is in the Los Angeles Times article, when they're talking about Mattel getting the license, there's no wording like master license or like global license or something like that. DC Warner Brothers may be doing something that a lot of other brands are doing, that they're not going to have just one manufacturer producing figures. They may go the route of like TMNT, that if you want to make a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure, just pay them and you get the license. It may be happening with DC. McFarlane may not be out of the game, is what I'm getting at. It won't surprise me if they are, but it also won't surprise me if they're not, because there's no word about that. Like speculation, nothing has come out of McFarlane. We do know that the license for DC Multiverse is up this year, and there hasn't been any word, any scuttlebutt about the renewal of it. That may come out during Toy Fair. Don't forget, we're ticking down to Toy Fair. It's going to happen in a couple of days, time of recording. So there may be more news coming from that. Also, the question would be, if McFarlane is losing DC, what are they going to have to replace it? So there's no word, there's no official word on if McFarlane and Spin Master are losing the rights. Spin Master just started a new line, like a retro line of figures that started with, what was it, Batman Returns, or not Batman Returns, Batman and Robin, or Batman Forever, I forget which one. So they just started like those Kenner retro figures. And as far as like something, if people are concerned about things like superpowers is such a basic figure type that even if McFarlane loses the license and it's all going over to Mattel, I won't be surprised if Mattel keeps the superpowers line going, because it would have gone from Kenner to McFarlane and then on to Mattel. That like, it's such a basic line and it seems to be doing very well. It seems to be very popular, especially like that affordable, that smaller sized affordable figure with like play sets and vehicles at a small scale at a reasonable price, it wouldn't surprise me if Mattel continued the Superpowers line. A couple of things that I found interesting was, okay, here it is, this part. Robert Oberschelp, head of Warner Brothers Discovery Global Consumer Products, said that the DC brand is one of the company's crown jewels, and the battle to obtain the licensing rights was highly competitive. The company considered manufacturers' business models and track records in design work, distribution, and innovation when weighing options, which that paragraph right there to me says they were shopping it around. They didn't just go to Mattel and say, or Mattel didn't go to Warner Brothers and try and court them to get the rights back. They were shopping the rights around, which brings up two questions in my head. Well, one question with two possible answers. Why did McFarlane let go? Or did McFarlane let go? Because still not knowing whether or not McFarlane is out of the loop. It's interesting to me that if McFarlane is still manufacturing, then why did they start shopping it around to get somebody else into the mix? Or if McFarlane is out of the loop, why? And did McFarlane Toys just not renew the license because they have something else in the pipeline? For as many times as McFarlane Toys has grabbed hold of IPs and is trying to do multiple IPs at once, I don't know if I see McFarlane Toys just giving up the license, especially since it's pretty much the thing that has made them a contender in the past few years. So I find it very interesting that they're making it sound like the license was shopped around for one reason or another, whether because they took it from McFarlane, whether because McFarlane didn't renew, or whether because they want something in addition to McFarlane. The bottom line is, to me anyway, this just says that they were seeing what other action figure lines were doing, especially Hasbro, because they call Hasbro out directly in this article, and thought, we can do better than what's going down right now. That's my thoughts on it. Obviously, I'm very excited about this. Obviously, I feel for anybody that is a multiverse collector in the event that McFarlane Toys does stop manufacturing figures. I can completely understand putting as much time and money and effort into collecting, trying to get all of those exclusives, trying to get all those chase variants, and now there's a possibility that it's all coming to an end. I really do feel for any of the fans of that line that are kind of left holding the bag. For me, though, I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited about the possibilities. I also noticed there's no mention as to what scale these could be, or if they're going to go Masters of the Universe route and do multiple scales of figures. I had said in the earlier video that could you imagine doing a multiverse or a DC line of action figures in the Masterverse style, those 7-inch figures with the good proportions, especially with the way Masterverse is now, multiple accessories, head swaps, hand swaps, just the look of them, the design of them. I think that could be really cool. That would be really interesting to me. And then there's even the possibility of having the Masters of the Universe and DC crossovers again, which have happened in the comics, Superman and He-Man going at it. Or will they make a 5.5-inch line? This was all stuff that I talked about when I kind of jokingly postulated the idea of Mattel getting the license back, that they could do a 5.5 line and do sort of a crossover line like what they're doing with Thundercats and TMNT right now. There are so many possibilities by putting this back into the hands of Mattel. And I'm very curious to see what everybody thinks of this. I'm sure there are people that are excited about it. I'm sure there are people that are neutral on it. And I'm sure there are people that are very upset about this. But I find it very exciting that the DC brand is moving forward and stepping into the next, just the next phase of the collecting world. Happy New Year, everyone. The holidays are over and it's great to have you all back. To celebrate the new year, go ahead and leave a like on the video, and while you're at it, you might as well subscribe if you haven't already. If you're a returning subscriber, I would like to thank you for coming back and joining me for 2025. If you would like to help this community of collectors grow, you can do so by joining the Steel Core. You can do that by becoming a channel member or a coffee page subscriber. Either one gets you access to members-only videos, the Discord, and eventually members-only live streams, all for $1 a month. You can join by clicking on the button below this video or by clicking the link to my coffee page in the description below. It's a new year and new things are coming to the channel. So play well, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.